Hi, my name's Kate. I am a high school math teacher at the beginning of my 19th year of teaching. Today, I thought that I would do just a normal day in my life. Today is Tuesday, October 14th, and I have this morning, I'm here pretty early. I've got office hours starting in about 15 minutes. Kind of varies between having one kid to having 8 kids, really depends on whether we have an assessment coming up that day or not. And we just took a quiz last class, so I may have 1 or 2 kids, and that's probably it today. My pre-calc class today is going to be doing more of an independent activity where they are investigating function shifts. So I have this worksheet here where the students are going to investigate. They're going to do just a small thing, and then I'll have the answers posted around so that they can do the initial part. They can go check and make sure that they're good. So the first one's just looking at that it's shifting up and down, and then they're going to look at the shift left and right, and then we have that vertical stretch. And all of the ones that they're investigating, they're going to use Desmos for that, are all quadratic. And then we talk about, does it work with all the other functions? So I've got a bunch of other functions here, and the students are going to do that investigation. So really just reviewing that function shift so that we can look at our parent function and then look at a new function and then just decide how it changes. And then their homework, we just have problems out of the book where it just gives, here's the new function and describe the transformation of that function. So that's my plan for pre-calc. So I have that blocks 1 and 2 today. My third block is my quantitative reasoning class, and they are finishing up a WOW project today. So last class started the project. They were given 4 different scenarios to pick, and they had to come up with a presentation to wow us. So the 4 options that the students had was this energy comparison, so using data from a specific website to talk about different numbers and put those numbers in perspective. Talking about option 2, the scale model solar system that was at the National Mall in Washington, D.C. So talking about how they took the whole entire solar system, were able to scale it down onto the National Mall and kind of put that in perspective. Richest people, they needed to figure out who the 3 richest people are and then put their values, their money, their net worth into terms that we understand, or putting numbers in perspective, find at least 2 examples of very large or very small numbers in recent news and put those in perspective. So as I was explaining this project to the kids, I talked to them about how we don't really understand what $1 million really is, right? So we need to put it in terms of something that we can fully understand as much as we want to know. And, yes, we see it written out, but do we really know what $1 million is? So I was like, okay, so you can compare it to, how many teachers' salaries would make up that $1 million, or you could buy this many. I had a student a couple years ago use mega yachts to help explain, but then was like, okay, so this person could buy, this many mega yachts. Do we know what a mega yacht is? So then he broke it down further and explained that a mega yacht was this wide, and you could walk from, and then named 2 locations local to us and said, okay, so you could walk from here to here, and that would be the size of a mega yacht from, the front to the back. And then you could buy so many of these. And that really got the kids kind of thinking, oh my gosh, that's a really big ship, really big yacht, and then we could buy this many of them. And that helped put those numbers in perspective. So that's the idea of this project in the quantitative reasoning class, getting the kids to do a little bit of research and then put it in terms of what we understand. And one of my students was like, oh, could I say, that with this amount of money, you could buy, 32 billion ears of corn? And I was like, okay, you could go with that. I said, but do we know what 32 billion ears of corn looks like, or whatever it was? And then we talked about, okay, how can we use that to then, that means that every person on earth would have to eat how many ears of corn every day for a year, or every day for a month, or whatever, to try to take those huge numbers and break it down into something that we understand. So my quantitative reasoning class started that last class, and they're going to finish those projects today. And then when I see them on a Thursday, they are going to do presentations on these projects. So they could do Google Slides, they could do posters, they could do really any sort of presentation that they want, as long as they are able to show information. So I've got a little rubric here about that they need to research, include all the information, kind of the background knowledge for everything. They need to show all of the accurate math calculations and their creativity in presenting and making sure that we truly understand the magnitude of the numbers that they are using. So that's what I'm doing in quantitative reasoning. And then my last block today is my plan period. So I've got a good list of things that I am trying to get caught up on. So I need to catch up on grades. My college algebra kids are taking a test when I see them on Friday. So I need to finalize that test. And then I'm going to try my best to get copies for college algebra through the end of next week. That way I just have all of those done and I don't have to worry about them. So hoping to be a really productive plan period. So I've got about 10 minutes now before kids might start showing up for office hours. So I'm going to go ahead and work on getting everything set up for my first block, get my projector on, my computer going, and all of that. And I will chat with you guys later. At the start of each class, I have a set of slides up for my students that just tells them the things that I need them to do now. So that's, as soon as the bell rings, at least work on those things. Still trying to get the kids, they do number one, and then typically they have a warm-up. They jump right to do the warm-up and they forget to get all of their supplies. So still working on getting them to do that. And then I list upcoming tests and quizzes for kids. And then I list what we're doing today. And then I always have a little meme for my students. So I try to theme this year my slides just kind of around the month. So obviously Halloween themed for this month. So as I said, I'm still trying to work on getting the kids to do now. And I specifically tell them, we're October and I have seniors, mostly seniors, and I have some juniors and a couple of sophomores. But I'm like, guys, we need to do these things in order. And like I said, they turn in their homework and then they jump straight to the warm-up because that's what's in their hand and they don't worry about gathering the supplies. Normally it wouldn't be such a big deal, except for, when the supplies are, you need paper. My kids don't have paper. So then after it's, whatever we're doing, and I'm like, okay, so on the top of your paper, and then 30 kids get up to head over to the supply cart to grab a piece of paper, only to realize that I'm out because kids are taking 15 pieces of paper each day, and then they're, asking, and it just takes forever. So I'm trying to get the kids to understand we need to get these things at the start of class so that we're not interrupting in the middle of class. The other issue is that now I have my students put their phones and earbuds in their bag and their bags in the back of the room so that phones are not a distraction, and it's really helped a lot cutting down on phones. Now obviously I have kids that don't do that, they just keep those in their pocket and then they get in trouble when they have their phone out. But that issue, now that their bags are in the back of the room, if they haven't gotten out all of their supplies, again, when it comes time to, okay, on your paper, all these kids are getting up, going to their bags and getting things that they didn't get before, and I'm really trying to push this with them because it's just taking a lot of extra time. So do you guys have any sort of system that you use that ensures that the kids have their supplies out at the start of class so that we don't have these big disruptions in the middle of class? I would love to know. So if you got a system that works well, leave those in the comments. Let me know, let everybody know, because I'm struggling. So we have both brackets on those, bracket 0,6 bracket. Our x-intercept, when we're talking intercepts, remember we're talking points. So points we always list with parentheses, right? Points are never with a bracket. We've never used brackets for points before, so don't start. Okay, so our x-intercepts are in parentheses -6, 0 and 6, 0. Our y-intercept, again, a point, so 0, 6 in parentheses. Increasing is bracket -6, 0 parenthesis, bracket -6, 0 parenthesis. And decreasing is parenthesis 0,6 bracket to help you investigate these things. So question number 1, please make sure you do this first before you move on, because this is kind of helping us understand some of the rest of it. Okay, so you're going to evaluate these functions. This question number 1 is the only thing you don't need to use decimals for. So when we multiplied it by 4, what happened to our parabola? Okay, so I heard two things. I heard it stretched and it got skinnier. So I agree, skinnier. We can very easily see that it got skinny this way. When we talk about stretch, how are we stretching it? Which way? We're stretching it up this way. So that's called a what? If we're going up. You had the I think you were using the word before, vertical, right? So we have that vertical stretch, right? It's taking our graph and it's stretching it this way and it's making it skinny, okay? So vertical stretch is the word, the vocabulary that we're using. The making it skinnier is the idea. That's kind of what's happening. Okay, think about a marshmallow. I don't have any marshmallows to show you, but think about a nice big old marshmallow, okay? So if I take this marshmallow and I want it to be 4 times as tall, right, here's my marshmallow, I want it to be 4 times as tall. I'm gonna take my marshmallow and I'm gonna pull it 4 times as tall. What happens to that marshmallow as we pull it? It gets really skinny, right? It's gonna stretch it this way and it's gonna get really skinny. That's what's happening to our graph, right? We're taking our graph and I want it to be 4 times, so I'm gonna pull it this way, so it's gonna get skinny. Okay, now we have our marshmallow. Now I want it to be half as tall. So think we're making a s'more. We're putting it between 2 graham crackers and we're gonna squish it and it's gonna become half as tall. What happens to that marshmallow as we squish it? It's gonna get wider this way, right? So going over the homework again, this is just for those of you guys that did and turned in the homework. If you did not do or turn in the homework for whatever reason, you should not be writing answers down. Answer to number 1, we should have 27.96%. So 27.96% of the 560 people surveyed believe in the existence of deep state. Number 2, the number of students enrolled in a college increased by 13,000 or by about 76.47% in 12 years. Okay, so it's lunchtime, so I finished both of my pre-calc classes and I'm 30 minutes into my quantitative reasoning class. We have lunch and then they come back for an hour. So before lunch, I gave them time to turn in homework. We graded the homework, went over any questions that they had, and then every week during this 3rd block class, we have advisory time because our 3rd block, which is attached to our lunch period, is always longer. So we have mini advisory lessons that we have to do. So because I have a mixed class, I have to do both lessons for my juniors and my seniors, and they're just working in Naviance right now, getting ready for scholarships, college applications, and that sort of thing. So we did that, and then after lunch, they're gonna have time to work on their project for the remainder of the time. So lunch today, super excited. I've got a salad. So if you've seen some of my other day in the life videos, I use this container a lot. I forgot a fork, so I don't even have the other lid that goes on here, but inside this container, when you open it up, there's a compartment for different toppings, and then underneath is where the salad is. So I've got some extra toppings. There is a container that goes in the center for dressing. I just bring my own dressing, so I've got toppings here, and I actually have more in here. Got chickpeas underneath too. So I'm gonna enjoy my salad and relax a little bit. I sent some things to the color copier so I can start working on prepping those while my students are working on their projects, but I'm gonna get eating first. I got some of the papers that I needed copied, so this is just a little glimpse into the next project that I'm going to work on. So while my kids are working on their projects, if they don't have questions, I'm going to go ahead and laminate. So I've got this great Q-Fun laminator that I'm going to use. So it's got some tools under here, and this laminator is absolutely perfect for these projects. So while kids are working, if they don't have questions, I'm going to work on laminating and cutting out all of this stuff, and then during my prep I'll get the rest of it printed and then see what I can do from there. So you'll have to stay tuned for a future video to see exactly what it is, but I'm gonna give you a hint in this video. Yeah, see if you get it or not. Otherwise, yes, stay tuned for a future day in my life video and I will show off the fun things that I'm working on right now. My last block is over, and so now I'm on my plan period for our block 4 today. The rest of quantitative reasoning went pretty well. Again, the kids were just working on their projects, so it wasn't a huge thing. I had quite a few questions. I did have students initially trying to have me look over their entire project to make sure that it was good and what I was looking for, and I said, you know what guys, I'm not going to look over your whole project for you. Read the rubric. The rubric tells you exactly what's needed, and I explained again, this is a very open-ended project, so nobody should look the same. So I can't say, yes, this is exactly what I'm looking for, because I'm looking for a ton of things. And so, I think that was a little frustrating because they wanted like this cookie cutter, just plug in this information here, this information, so that everybody's project looked the same. So, I'm excited to see what they came up with. I know a couple students more were trying to problem solve and saying, okay, so I broke it down into this number, but I still feel like this number is too big. So how can I break it down again? And so those were conversations I was excited to have, as opposed to just, am I doing it right? And so, you know, had some great conversations with some of the kids, and I think that the projects are going to be wonderful. So I will definitely have to update in a future video as to how those projects went. So my plan period right now, I've got a list of things that I want to get done. So I do have, I'm just going to try to cover up. I have this notepad that I got from Callie Danielle. I'll leave this in the description below, but it's just got each day of the week, and it's just a way for me to jot down all of my to-dos for the day, or as I'm thinking of things I need to do in the future, I can just add those to this list. It's a large pad. I mean, this thing is really big. So it just sits on my desk, and as I'm working through things, I can check those off. So I need to, my biggest task today is to write my college algebra test that they're gonna take on Friday. And I wanna get a couple of things copied. So those are kind of the biggest things on my list. I did send the rest of the stuff that I needed to print in color to the math copier, or the office copier in the main office. So I'm gonna run down and grab those first, and then I'm gonna work on getting tests done and copies made. And then, yeah, we'll see what time it is and go from there. We do have tomorrow is our school-wide PSAT day, so I do need to just kind of make sure that I can log back into the teacher toolkit, test day toolkit, whatever that's called. I need to make sure that I can log into that. A teacher diagonal from me, across the hall diagonal from me, he and I are working together, so one of us is the proctor, one of us is the monitor. And so just need to make sure that we can both get in so that whoever decides to use their computer, we're all set. But we're not testing in my room, which is good. And the biggest reason, kind of turn you guys around, my desks that I have in here are not really conducive to the PSAT. And initially they were going to use my room, but we realized like there's no way that I can put my desks in rows of 5 going across. The desks would be touching each other, and then there would be no aisles for the kids to walk through. So this room is not being used, so I'm hoping that's going to be another like, hey, I need regular desks, and here's another reason why, because we can't even use my room for PSAT and SAT when that comes in the spring. So maybe that'll be enough to push them and get different desks for me. As much as I sometimes love the big size, it doesn't work when kids are trying to work together, talk together. There's no collaboration because they're just set in their own little space, right? In these desks, there's this little, let's see if I can point to it, like this little inset right here. And so the kids really just kind of tuck down in there and then just do their own work. And there's no like trying to force kids to work together because they're just have their own little space. Anyway, off on a tangent. So I'm gonna be productive, and I will check in with you guys in a little bit. Okay, I need y'all's help. Now that I'm trying to have it show you, oh, there we go. Okay, so every time I use Microsoft Word, my cursor here turns white and then I can't see it. So when I'm going in and editing things, I can't find, so it's not doing it now, but I can't find my cursor. So I'm just like randomly clicking on the page until I can figure out where it is or turn it back to, you know, this black color. So I know my tech people, they've gone into the settings, they've done all these things. So if you guys have this issue where your cursor turns white all the time and you just can't use it, again, it's definitely not doing it right now because I'm trying to show you guys. So if you have that issue or you know how to fix it so that this cursor stops turning white on me and the only place that I can see it is over in the gray area, please let me know because this has been driving me crazy for well over a year now. Okay, so here we go. I'm moving my cursor around inside the page, but we can't see it because it's white. And now it changed back. So if you guys have any help, any idea what to do, let me know. Well, that's it. My day is over. I am heading home. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you are interested in following along more with my journey as I teach, please subscribe. I do upload videos every Friday, but you can hit that notification bell to be notified the next time a video goes live. I hope you guys have a mathy day. Bye.